The Hyksos invasion and subsequent rule over parts of Egypt, spanning roughly from 1650 to 1550 BCE, represents a significant chapter in ancient Egyptian history marked by political and social upheaval. The Hyksos, whose name means rulers of foreign lands, were a group of Asiatic people, likely from the Levant, who began migrating into Egypt during the Second Intermediate Period. This era was characterized by a fragmentation of central authority, which created a power vacuum that the Hyksos exploited. The exact origins of the Hyksos remain somewhat unclear, but they were likely a mix of various Semitic peoples from the region of modern-day Syria and Palestine. Over time, they settled in the eastern delta of the Nile, an area that was more accessible to foreign influences due to its proximity to Asia. Initially, their presence was relatively peaceful, involving trade and cultural exchanges with the native Egyptians. However, as the central power of the Middle Kingdom waned, the Hyksos began to assert more political and military control. By around 1650 BCE, the Hyksos had established themselves as a dominant force in Lower Egypt. They managed to seize control of Memphis, the ancient capital, and establish their own capital at Avaris in the Nile Delta. The Hyksos brought with them advanced military technologies that were unfamiliar to the Egyptians, such as the horse-drawn chariot, the composite bow, and improved fortification techniques. These innovations gave them a significant advantage in warfare, allowing them to consolidate their rule. The Hyksos rule over Egypt was marked by a mixture of cultural integration and distinct foreign dominance. They adopted many aspects of Egyptian administration, culture, and religion, even taking on traditional Egyptian titles and building temples to Egyptian gods. However, they also maintained their own cultural identity, and their rule was viewed by many native Egyptians as an occupation by foreign usurpers. This period saw the coexistence of Hyksos rulers in the north and native Egyptian dynasties in the south, leading to a divided Egypt. The Hyksos control was not without resistance. Native Egyptian rulers, particularly those from Thebes in Upper Egypt, viewed the Hyksos as illegitimate rulers and sought to expel them. The struggle to reclaim Egyptian autonomy culminated during the reign of Seqenenre-Tao, a Theban king who led military campaigns against the Hyksos. His efforts were continued by his successors, Kamose and Amose-Thau, who intensified the conflict. Amose-Thau, often credited with founding the 18th dynasty, played a crucial role in the eventual expulsion of the Hyksos. He launched a series of military campaigns that pushed the Hyksos back towards the delta and ultimately besieged Avaris. The final defeat of the Hyksos marked the end of their rule in Egypt and the beginning of the New Kingdom, a period of renewed centralization and imperial expansion for Egypt. The Hyksos period had lasting impacts on Egyptian society and culture. The Egyptians adopted several of the military technologies and practices introduced by the Hyksos, including the horse-drawn chariot and composite bow, which later contributed to the military successes of the New Kingdom. The experience of foreign domination also influenced Egyptian attitudes toward foreigners and border security, leading to a more aggressive foreign policy and territorial expansion under subsequent pharaohs. In sum, the Hyksos invasion and rule over parts of Egypt brought about significant political and social changes. Their advanced military technology and strategic prowess enabled them to dominate Lower Egypt, leading to a period of foreign rule that was deeply resented by native Egyptians. The eventual expulsion of the Hyksos by Ahmose marked the end of this tumultuous era and set the stage for the rise of the New Kingdom, a time of great power and prosperity for ancient Egypt. The legacy of the Hyksos, both in terms of their contributions and the resistance they inspired, remains a pivotal chapter in the history of ancient Egypt.